Y&R Spoilers reveal a bloody battle, Daniel Romalotti and the quest for justice in the world of conspiracy and secrets of the young and the restless. Daniel Romalotti has always been a character full of determination and a desire to protect his loved ones. But he never expected that, in his efforts to restore justice for his mother, Phyllis Summers, he would have to face bloody dangers and a ruthless war in which he himself would be the first victim. The beginning of a battle ever since Phyllis was captured by Alan in a cruel plot, Daniel could not sit still. The feeling of helplessness when witnessing his mother's suffering pushed him to action. He not only wanted to bring Alan to light but also to demand justice for Phyllis, the woman who raised him with all her love. However, while pursuing his plan to seek justice, Daniel had no idea that he was about to face a deadly danger. Driven by a strong belief in saving Phyllis, Daniel goes deeper into the dangerous path without knowing that the price will be his own life. He tries every way to expose Alan, and although there are times when he thinks he has touched the truth, what he gets in return are only unexpected blows and unforgettable wounds. The fierce battle and the brutal blow. The tension reaches its peak when Daniel is stunned by a brutal blow. The blow causes a serious injury to his head, blood flows profusely, and immediately, the gruesome images of Daniel with a bloody face are recorded in a terrifying scene. It is not only a physical wound but also a great shock to all those who love him. He is no longer an ordinary boy, but now a warrior in a war where the enemy is cruel and merciless. Despite the injury, Daniel does not falter. He continues to fight, determined not to fall victim to a sinister plot. But in a world where ghosts of the past are always waiting to return, Daniel soon realizes that his efforts are leading him into a chaotic sweep, where unnecessary trouble continues to fall. Confronting the truth and making a shocking discovery. But while Daniel is struggling with pain, Chance, a tenacious detective, has tracked down a strange device that Alan used to eliminate those he considered a threat. Chance's discovery leads him to Paris, where a dark secret still lurks. Alan, once a symbol of power and ruthlessness, turns out to have a twin brother that no one knows about. The story becomes even more complicated when Sharon and Phyllis discover that Alan is not alone in this conspiracy. Alan's twin brother, Martin, is a cold-blooded criminal, and his impersonation of Alan only reinforces Sharon's belief that he is responsible for all the tragedies that have occurred. Phyllis, who has always been filled with hatred for the man who kidnapped and harmed her, is now faced with an unbelievable truth. Daniel and the fight to protect his family. With the wounds still fresh on his body and the pain still haunting him, Daniel cannot stop. He understands that this fight is not only for Phyllis, but also for everyone he loves. Throughout his journey to find justice, he faces enemies who will not be easily defeated, who are always lurking, ready to use any means to kill his hopes and future. Meanwhile, Sharon and Phyllis, with the support of Chance, are determined to hunt down Martin and Alan and bring them to justice. Each step of their journey is fraught with hardship, but the strength of their unity cannot be underestimated. Tensions are rising, and the closer the truth is to being revealed, the greater the concern for the safety of Daniel and these women. An open ending and secrets yet to be revealed. In the end, Daniel is faced with a choice. Continue on his path to rescue his family or surrender to the power of criminals. He has paid a heavy price, but his belief in justice and fairness has not faded. The lesson learned from this battle is, nothing is easy, especially when facing hidden criminals, dark plots that even those closest to him cannot recognize. But in the darkness, there is always a ray of light, and no matter how dark things are, the truth will eventually be revealed. Can Daniel survive the relentless attacks and bloodshed, and can Sharon, Phyllis, and Chance uncover who is behind the plot? The answers are still up in the air, in a war where everything can change overnight. The Secret Investigation. Chance, Sharon, and the truth about the kidnapping and the affair involving Phyllis and Sharon in the twisted world of the young and the restless, where relationships are always changing and intrigue never stops developing. The kidnapping and near-death incident of Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman has shaken Genoa City. Not only are people worried about the safety of these two strong women, but they are also questioning the deep secrets behind the incident. Chance and the GCPD involvement. A dangerous investigation. Like a determined warrior, Chance Chancellor takes on the responsibility of investigating this mysterious kidnapping. Together with the GCPD team of investigators, he begins to hunt for clues about who was behind the horrific event that nearly cost Phyllis and Sharon their lives. Police reports indicate that Chance is making progress in uncovering the mystery. Every step he takes brings him closer to uncovering the truth behind this complex case. However, every clue Chance gathers seems to lead to a familiar name, Alan Laurent. This imposter, whom the audience already knows as the real villain, is the one who has been hiding in the shadows for a long time. Each piece of the puzzle is slowly coming together, and Alan seems to be a key link in the dark conspiracy, which adds to the tension and suspense of the investigation. Sharon's suspicion, Alan and the truth. Although Chance is vigorously investigating, Sharon, with her keen intuition, begins to suspect that Alan may be behind it all. Initially, Phyllis is the first to suspect Alan's involvement in this case. However, after being kidnapped and nearly killed, Sharon realizes that Alan may actually be more important than she thought. She no longer simply thinks that Alan is the victim of some elaborate plot. Instead, she begins to sense that he may be the real mastermind. Sharon is not only worried about Phyllis's safety, but also feels herself being drawn into a dangerous vortex. She begins to connect the dots between Alan and the strange events that have recently occurred, especially the connections between Alan and other characters in her and Phyllis's lives. Although Sharon has no clear evidence, her suspicions cannot be ignored, and it begins to create tension in her relationships with those around her. Phyllis and growing doubts. As the investigation progresses, Phyllis begins to feel a wave of suspicion creeping in, especially regarding Alan's involvement. She initially questions Alan's role, but as the complex connections between the cases become clearer, Phyllis becomes increasingly certain that he is behind it all. However, in her confusion, Phyllis can't help but think of another possibility. Could Ashley Abbott be involved? With Ashley's connection to Paris, Phyllis begins to imagine that Ashley may have some role in the kidnapping, perhaps even part of a larger conspiracy that she is unaware of. However, while these thoughts make Phyllis uneasy, they are quickly dismissed when she realizes that Ashley has absolutely nothing to do with the case. Although Ashley had some connection to Paris, she was not the one behind it all. Phyllis's suspicions were all but quashed, but there was still a lingering sense of unease, a sense that the story was far from over. New evidence and the widening investigation. With each step in the investigation, Chance began to uncover clues that Alan had left behind, and these clues became more and more likely that Alan was not a random victim. Reports from key witnesses began to reveal that Alan may have been holding secret meetings with unknown individuals, possibly including dangerous organizations that could threaten Phyllis and Sharon's safety. However, the evidence was not yet strong enough to convict Alan outright. While Chance continued to dig deeper, Sharon and Phyllis continued to worry about their safety, while continuing their own investigations. The tension between these relationships grows, and with each new revelation, both realize that they are caught up in a more dangerous game than they ever imagined. Although suspicions about Alan are growing, and Chance's investigation is still moving forward, whether the truth will eventually be revealed is still an open question. Every step in this investigation brings unexpected surprises and tension. Is Alan the mastermind behind it all, or will others appear to disrupt all plans? And can Phyllis and Sharon overcome the fear and danger they face? The evidence will become clearer as time goes on, but with all the possible scenarios, no one knows what the future holds for Sharon, Phyllis, and Chance. This investigation is not only a battle against crime, but also their own struggle to maintain life and honor in a world full of betrayal and danger. The Dark Shadow. Tracy Abbott faces conspiracy and the inevitable end in the world of secrets and intrigue. On The Young and the Restless, the return of the dark shadow that once haunted Genoa City has created a wave of fear everywhere. Enemies are constantly moving in the dark, and when innocent people begin to be caught up in the vortex of crime, they will have no choice but to face the truth that the bad guys do not want to reveal. The shadow of Martin Laurent returns to Genoa City after a long period of silence. That dark shadow reappears in Genoa City. It is none other than Martin Laurent, who has caused a lot of chaos in the lives of many people. When this name appears, it is like a warning to all those who have been involved in his past. Martin's return is not only a threat to those who have stood in his way, but also a sign that dark plots will once again invade their lives. This time, Martin not only targets Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman, but also sets his sights on another unexpected character, Tracy Abbott. While Tracy is planning her wedding, she unexpectedly becomes the next target in Martin's ruthless plan. The situation quickly becomes dire when she discovers that no one can protect her from the dark plots that Martin is drawing. Tracy Abbott confronts Ellen Lauren on a dark and tense night. Tracy Abbott, a woman always known for her calmness and strength, is shocked when she comes face to face with Ellen Lauren, the man she thought had been erased from her life. Ellen shows up in her hotel room, a surprise that no one could have predicted. Tracy is stunned, unable to believe that the man she once loved would return and put her in such a dangerous situation. When Tracy expresses her desire to postpone her wedding to Ellen, she not only surprises him but also frightens him. This is not only because of her change in perspective, but also because of the threats that Ellen could not have foreseen. He begins to question Tracy's true motives. Why is she hesitant when she was ready to step into a life with him? Was there something or someone who influenced her decision? These questions ring out like warnings to Tracy, and it leaves her bewildered. Tracy and Alan's nightmare. The story becomes tense as Alan presses Tracy for an explanation. He was eager to know if she had changed her feelings or if there was another reason why she was hesitant to marry him. Alan's coercive words were like a vice gripping Tracy's heart. She couldn't escape his control, and she felt more and more dangerous in this relationship. Meanwhile, Tracy began to doubt what Alan really wanted from her. Did he really love her, or was he just a schemer, using her to carry out his plans? These thoughts tormented Tracy's mind, and she felt more and more trapped in this relationship. Postponing the wedding might be her last chance to find out the truth about Alan and the secrets he was hiding. The spread of suspicion and the threat from Martin at this time, Sharon and Phyllis, the women who were kidnapped by the impersonator Alan, could not help but doubt Alan's true motives. His appearance in Tracy's life not only made her confused but also rang alarm bells in Sharon and Phyllis's hearts. They began to realize that Martin Lauren might have returned with a more vicious plan than ever. Alan's impersonation of him could take advantage of the people around him, and Tracy could be the next target he would eliminate to protect his secret. Phyllis, who had experienced much pain and betrayal, sensed this danger and decided to take action. She knew that if she did not stop Alan and Martin, they would not only harm Tracy but also continue to spread fear to those around them. Sharon, despite the trauma of her kidnappings, is determined not to let these imposters take over her life. The two begin to devise a plan to confront Alan and Martin, not only to protect themselves, but also to bring these criminals to justice. Daniel Romalotti, hero or victim of bloody fate? In a world filled with conspiracies, brutal confrontations, and the ghosts of the past that never cease to threaten, The Young and the Restless has introduced one of the most dramatic and emotional episodes involving the character of Daniel Romalotti. Can a hero carry deep wounds, or is he simply a pawn in a dangerous game that he cannot control? Daniel Romalotti, hero or bait for dangerous people? Daniel Romalotti, son of Phyllis Summers, is a passionate young man, always ready to stand up to protect the people he loves. However, in recent episodes, Daniel has faced extremely difficult and bloody challenges, making viewers wonder, will he continue to be a hero or will he become a victim of cruel fate? Some recent official details from the production team reveal a tragic and touching side to Daniel's story. Not only is he caught in a fierce battle, but he is also paying the price with his own safety. Phyllis and Sharon, the two women Daniel has always tried to protect, are now unexpectedly working together, not only for their own benefit, but also because of the dangers that threaten them from someone everyone knows is the culprit. This situation makes one wonder, why is Daniel so badly injured, and why is he in this situation? All signs point to him being confronted by a dangerous individual whose presence has set off an irreversible chain of events. This explains why Daniel is so badly injured and covered in blood. Unexpected partnership. Phyllis, Sharon, and Tracy. A partnership between Phyllis and Sharon may have seemed unthinkable in the days before, but things have changed. Both realize that they cannot stand idly by in the face of a greater threat. Sharon, fresh from her own days of turmoil and loss, now faces an unseen danger from someone who has been hiding for too long. Phyllis, determined to never give up, realizes that they must work together if they are to survive in a world filled with dangers they could never have foreseen. And while Sharon and Phyllis form an unlikely alliance, Tracy Abbott, still worried that her wedding to Alan Laurent might be ruined by ghosts from the past, may also come into the picture. Tracy, who has also endured horrific events and faced constant threats from Alan, knows better than anyone that no one can face the cruelty of bad guys alone. This combination not only brings viewers breathtaking moments but also opens up unprecedented possibilities for how to overcome threats and deal with evildoers. Although Tracy, Phyllis, and Sharon all come from different backgrounds and perspectives, they share a common goal: to save themselves and protect the people they love. Behind-the-scenes photo: Daniel and the bloody wounds. Recently, a shocking behind-the-scenes photo was revealed, showing Daniel Romalotti, played by Michael Graziadei, in a terrible state, blood pouring from the back of his head. This photo seems to confirm that Daniel is going to face serious injuries, and that anything that happens could make him the target of a brutal attack. This not only raises the suspicion that Daniel could be hit hard, or even gory, but also shows that the danger he is facing is very real and worrying. With this photo, viewers cannot help but question the cause of these serious injuries. Was Daniel brutally beaten in a surprise confrontation? Or was he attacked by an imposter who was intent on eliminating him as part of a larger plan? Every detail is gradually leading viewers to the big question: can Daniel survive this attack, and if he does, what will he do next to save himself and his loved ones from the hands of the enemy? A battle between light and darkness. Daniel's story is becoming a battle not only against the villains but also against himself. He has always been a protector of others, but now he must fight to protect himself. The situation becomes more complicated as dark secrets about imposters and hidden conspiracies are increasingly revealed. The involvement of Tracy, Sharon, and Phyllis adds to the strength of their fight against the evil forces that threaten them. However, this confrontation is not only a physical battle but also a struggle of spirit, perseverance, and love. The physical injuries that Daniel suffers are not only a physical sacrifice, but also a testament to his relentless fight in this uncertain life. Every detail, from Phyllis and Sharon's cooperation, to the appearance of Tracy, to the serious injury that Daniel suffers, all raise questions about survival in a dangerous world. Each character is faced with a difficult decision: will they fight or give up against the dark forces that envelop their lives? The unexpected end. Daniel Romalotti's story could end in a number of ways, but one thing is certain: it will be one of the most intense and emotional struggles the young and the restless fans have ever witnessed. Will Daniel be able to stand up to the brutal attack and become the hero of his own story? Or will he have to sacrifice too much to save the people he loves? The only thing that is certain is that, no matter the outcome, Daniel will never give up. He has faced pain, loss, and failure, but he has stood up and kept fighting. And in a world full of intrigue, that is what makes Daniel an irreplaceable hero. Subscribe to Y&R to stay up to date with the latest news on our channel.